Hello there you, and welcome to the planet of Avarax, where today the Death Corps of Krieg are going to be defending this Adaptus Mechanicus research facility, where they were working out how to defend a medieval peasant fortress. I don't know, we'll just go with it. But nonetheless, the Imperials must hold against over 5 million Tyranid Hormagorns, which for the Tyranids is just your average Friday night get-together, with all the Imperial Valkyries currently being used to transport ammunition to the front lines. The Kriegers know there's no chance of redeployment, and so, with shovel and auto gun in hand, their last orders was to take down as many of the Xenos scum as possible in the Emperor's name. Will the Kriegers be able to hold the fortress, or will they simply become more biomass for the Tyranids to consume? But before we do kick off today's fight, I just want to say a massive shout out to all you channel members who helped keep this channel going. And if you're not a channel member, why the heck not? Click the join button down below. And while you're at it, go ahead, check out the amazing ChaoticPinky store. We've got some really cool merch over there. With all that being said, let's get on with today's battle. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen, kicking off today's big old scrap. We've got our fortress to defend, and we've got our Tyranid horde, and my god, let's just go have a look at this, because this is absolutely insane. Look at how many Tyranids are on the field here. It's an endless supply of flesh being flung at this fortress today. Well, when I say flesh, I mean biomass, but look, it just keeps on going and going. But yeah, they're certainly going to have the work cut out for them, because the Kriegers, they ain't going to lie down and take this. They've got their shovels, they've got their auto guns, they've even got a couple of Lehman Russ battle tanks in the fortress to help them to protect it. Already the rounds are flying overhead into the Hormagun line, barely making a scratch or a dent here. Just look at them all, honing in on the fortress. They've got their target in sight. You can see the auto guns from the gatehouse now already opening up. Troops on top of the walls, laying down some covering fire. We've got a couple of Kriegers positioned up here, just in case any of the sneaky ones try to climb up the walls. But yes, lots of Imperial God firepower coming out here, right into our Tyranid line. The Tyranids, though, they found a couple of guardsmen who are stuck on the outside here, probably doing some vital last-minute maintenance work on the wall. And they've now just been completely swarmed by Hormagorns. Now, this entire army is only Hormagorns, so yeah, it's just like I said, a small scouting force here, coming out to see what's what, see if they can find any mass before we send in the big guns to try and clean up. Look at this, the Imperials holding this gatehouse here with absolute vigor. Already the Tyranids taking 7,000 losses, which is absolutely nothing to this gigantic horde over here. They are trying to swing round though. Look, they've certainly got the numbers to surround the fortress today. You can see the Imperials trying to hold off any single gatehouse here. Realistically, they wouldn't close these gates, but you know, this is sort of built into the game. You can't close the gates. So it is what it is. They're left open. We'll just have to pretend that the Tyranids broke them. The corrosive acids or something like this. Now look at this. We've got a couple of brave Kriegers here. Shovels in hand, charging out to meet the Tyranids in the field today. And you know what? They're actually holding... I'm surprised they're holding this as well as they are, considering how many Nids are around them. That's it, lads. You make the Emperor proud. Keep their reinforcements flowing in. Keep the Tyranids away from the gatehouse for as long as possible. It's probably a good idea in some respects here, but the entire fortress now is alive and abuzz, trying to pump out firepower into the Tyranid lines here. And oh my god, the bodies are really starting to pile up in front of our gatehouse now. The Tyranids making some insane defilade here. Let's go around to the other side. This is the most active side at the moment, because I think the Tyranids have closed the gap on this gatehouse. Let's just go double check. Yeah, they have. Look, we're starting to get a lovely little body pile appearing over here. What we got over? Oh, look at this. We got a couple of kriegers trying to lure out a load of the Tyranids into the field. Kind of an interesting tactic. But actually, that's kind of working. Look at all these Tyranids that are trying to follow these guys. Luring them away from the field. Either that or they were just trying to escape or get out a message. I mean, the kriegers at the end of the day, so they're not trying to escape. They were probably desperately trying to get a message out that they're going to hold the fortress. God, look at that horde out there. Oh my God, it just stretches off into the horizon. That's a terrifying sight. The men and women here of the Krieger force, though, trying to hold off as best as they can. The Tyranids looking like they're trying to pile up corpses in this area a little bit. Look at that. They're starting to build them up the side of the wall. The gatehouse, though, are the active focal points at the moment. The Tyranids are, oh my gosh, yeah, they've managed to push the Kriegers right back to the gatehouse now. That slow step of reinforcements for the Kriegers that are coming out, certainly not helping at the moment. I mean, what it has done is it's kept the Tyranids away from the fortress walls, allowing that firepower to get a few extra kills in, I suppose. But was it worth the sacrifice in manpower that we had there? Oh my God, look at how, what the? Yeah, okay, so this group of Kriegers here, I see what the plan was now. They decided they're going to distract a couple of the Tyranids. Have them move away from the main army here, and they'll be able to mop up. That is a lot, actually. Look, that's actually freed up this entire flank of the fortress here. That's really interesting. A magnificent tactic here by these Imperial Guardsmen, helping keep some of the pressure off the gatehouses, allowing that firepower to actually focus down and not have to worry about this side of the fortress at all. How long they can keep that up for, though, is a totally different question. Man, we really are starting to pile up the bodies in these gatehouses. Look at this. That's a lot of bodies, man. The Imperials really holding these walls. Some good covering fire actually coming out from this. I mean, just look at the field of view these guys have. One of them situations where no matter where you're aiming, you can literally just close your eyes and shoot, and every single bullet will hit an enemy. I'm a little bit worried about this section of the wall here, even with the hovering Lehman Russ right above it. The Tyranid bodies are starting to build up. Are they going to breach a wall here before they breach a gatehouse? Is that what's going to happen? That'll be insane otherwise. We've almost got a complete surround here, despite this insane distraction tactic, which I've got to say, I can't believe how well this has worked. There's got to be a good 100,000 Tyranids going after these couple of dudes who are out in the field here. But I suppose it's kind of important that if they do manage to get a message out, that's vital information that the Imperial Guard will be fed with. I just can't believe how many bodies have been built up on this side so quickly as well, actually. That's the terrifying thing. Is there going to be any fortress left by the end of this? Because yeah, again, look, we've only just started on this side and it's already building up massively. We've got this really nice little Krieger countercharge going on this side. They keep trying to push out, keep the gatehouse clear to allow them reinforcements out, to give them some sort of escape route. Because if you think about it, the other gatehouses now are completely clogged up with bodies, so it is kind of vital that they keep one open. So they've got some maneuverability here, but it looks like it's starting to falter. Yeah, the Tyranids closing that gap now. It's because we got 11. We've literally plugged up the gap here with the Lehman Russ. I mean, that's sort of the way to do it, isn't it? Put a Lehman Russ in there, problem solved. Got so much firepower coming out of the garrison forces, though. And there was only like 30,000 of them in total in the garrison. So, yeah, we've lost probably roughly just under 5,000. Look at that. That's absolutely magnificent. I've got to give a medal to these Kriegers over here. Can we go? How many is actually over here now? There cannot be many of them. Oh, they've reached the end. Oh, they backed up right into the corner of the map. But yeah, I'm actually amazed at how many they've brought over here. They've brought them so far over here that the AI is having to recalculate the path. Because look, they're all just like, we're a bit too far out of synapse. What's going to go on now? Actually, yeah. That is sort of almost what it's like. They've almost moved too far away from it. But Any second now, the link should come back. There you go. They're all starting to link back to the hive mind. That's kind of really cool to watch. So it looks like this side of the fortress now then is going to come under heavy assault. But medals to them Kriegers, seriously. They took away a massive portion of the Tyranids army there. Like I said, that really allows them to focus firepower down on these sides and not have to worry. In fact, look, all the troops have just been withdrawn from this end. I don't think the Tyranids are going to be able to actually ascend through this side. The real worrying part then is this over here. Because look how close they're getting now to getting over that wall. That is real close, ladies and gentlemen. Because with the gatehouses on these, they've sort of got to go over the level of this wall here. And so they've got to pile up the bodies quite high to get over that. But that is, look, actually, it's a low section of the wall as well. It is the lowest point of the wall. It's had to dip down here for some reason. Architectural flair, probably. Damn them Imperial architects. Damn them to hell. Look at that. The Tyranids are really making a go for this. So what we're going to do, because basically now, the Tyranids have surrounded the fortress on all sides. It is going to turn into this brutal meat grinder of piling up bodies until the Tyranids have managed to make a breach. And I think the breach is going to happen here. So what we're going to do, we're going to hit a little time-lapse camera. And we'll be back in a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, where it looks like the Tyranids have built up enough bodies now to start getting on top of the fortress walls here. We can see that we had a little bit of a kriege countercharge there. The shovel lads going mad for it, trying to shovel the way forward here to protect, fill in that gap, and keep the Kriegers' rifles here shooting. And they're actually doing, look at this, they are pushing the Tyranids back a little bit. We need some more focused fire coming in. A load of Imperials there getting distracted because one of the Tyranids fell down below and he was still alive. They were making sure he wasn't after that. But that has brought a load more guns to bear on this front. The Kriegers are actually pushing back the Tyranids here. Somehow, the shovel-wielding gas mask giga-chads are doing it. I mean, that's absolutely magnificent. Look at some of these other body piles as well now that they've been building up. The Tyranids getting a real big one going on this side, and it looks like they might actually be able to pile these up onto the walls eventually as well. So possibly another weak point there for the Imperials. Let's have a look at their side quickly. Yeah, they're getting real close now to getting over the top of that. But yeah, this is the focal point at the moment. Oh no, the countercharge is faltering. We're not able to get enough shovels up there. They're trying to shuffle? Yeah, shuffle is a word. I was almost thinking I said shovel. Yeah, they're trying to shovel the way up the stairs here. But the Tyranids have made a breach in the wall, and they're trying to get forces over. Now, one of the things that is going to happen bit by bit is the bodies of the Tyranids are going to build up on this side of the wall, and that will eventually make it pathable. So the Kriegers here are basically on a ticking time bomb with all these bodies. That's why they need this countercharge to get out and be successful. They need to hold the Tyranids away from this section of the wall. We can't allow them bodies to keep building up as they are. But it does look like we did get quite a few reinforcements coming in terms of at least manpower from the other side there. Yeah, look at this. The Tyranids are trying to clear out this section little by little. It's going to take them a little while here. And so once again, we're just going to hit another little time-lapse camera over this side here. Keep an eye on this body pile because, yeah, the Tyranids, they're relentless now. This ticking time bomb's going to go off very soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we've got an absolutely glorious kriege countercharge going on over here. Look at the lads pushing over the top now. So what this actually means, though, is that the Tyranids have now built up enough corpses to be able to path over the top of the wall. Because look, that's the exact path that the kriegers are using, and they're now trying to counter this. But yeah, they just simply can't get enough reinforcements up there. Oh, the Tyranids are swarming over it. Look at this, the entire wall section there has basically just become this spiky, horrible death full of Tyranid corpses. Look at that. But yeah, this is worrying though. This does mean that the Tyranids can now path directly into the fortress from that area. Let's quickly go have a look at these other places. Again, the body's not really building up too high just yet, so that's not too much of a concern on this side. But yeah, the Tyranids really are starting to fill out this one area bit by bit. Now, that will give them direct access down into the fortress. You can see there is a staircase over there, so hopefully the Tyranids don't manage to do that anytime soon. This side looks still relatively clear. So yeah, whoever them guys were who ran all over the way over there, they really did save us because it allowed us to remove the troops from this side, which has stopped the Tyranids from building up corpses. This looks a little bit shaky. We've got a couple of floating Lehman Russes up here. I'm going to go ahead and pretend that these are cannons inside of the towers and they're not actually floating Lehman Russes. So yeah, they're defense guns inside the towers. Look at them go, guys. They're amazing. But yeah, I'm really concerned about this now. Because now that the kriege countercharge has sort of faltered, the Tyranids are pushing hard here. Come on, that's it. Get more kriegers up here. There's actually so many. The Tyranid numbers. And looking at this as well, there's 20,000 defenders. We've lost 5,000 to 300,000 Tyranid losses. That is some ratio that the Imperial Guard are achieving here. But by that ratio alone, it's not going to be enough. And now with this breach getting bigger and bigger by the second, I'm starting to worry how much longer the Imperial Guard could actually hold out. Them Tyranids are just pouring over the top. Look at them. All the bodies that have built up on this side as well. The kriegers are starting to use this as a firing platform. It will actually be kind of interesting though, as these bodies build up. Will we be able to get more and more reinforcements coming up here, trying to commit to a countercharge? That'll be interesting to see. But we are going to hit another time-lapse camera because it is still just a little trickle that is managing to get over here. But I want to keep an eye on both the body pile and the kriege countercharges on this side. So I think we should be all right over here. Yeah, we'll leave it just here, and we'll be back in a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The kriegers here have been holding out magnificently. They have been throwing so many reinforcements into this area, though, to try and hold back these massive waves of Tyranids that just keep flying in. Just look at that. Oh my god, the bodies have built up so high. The Tyranids have actually started to almost breach over this side now as well. The kriegers, yet again, are pushing forward, trying to keep the Tyranids out of the fortress here. They are not to step a single cleft of hoof here onto the Emperor's holy soil. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed that they've not got the weight over here. Actually, it looks like a couple of the bodies now are starting to pile up over this wall bit by bit. The Tyranids here building the corpses yet again. But this side of the wall is absolutely terrifying. The kriegers have had to pump so many reinforcements into this to hold this position. I mean, just look at the sheer amount of gunners that we've got here now. That is a lot, but yet again, all they're doing is creating a bigger problem for themselves. Now, luckily, this low section of the wall is actually somewhat containing the spread here of the bodies, because we haven't been able to build them up to the higher levels just yet, which is actually kind of thankful. So Maybe what that was Imperial Guard design there after all. It was designed to allow the bodies to pile up. But yeah, the other gatehouses are still holding strong at the moment. Looks like the Imperials have cleaned out most of the forces off the top of the wall here for threat of deflection. I love that these tanks are still just pumping out fire. But yeah, look at some of these body piles that we've been making around the fortress, man. That's so big. This one especially. Now, apparently there's only 500,000 kills here, but the Kriegers have been doing an excellent job of holding back. I can't believe it. Look at that. The massive... Oh, God, it's just... Yeah, we've barely put a dent in it. The Kriegers are doing excellent work, though. Like I said, 10,000 losses to 500,000 kills. Okay. But in reality, I think about 20,000 of them were melee. So we can lose 20,000 and still have a decent defense here in terms of rifles. But what I don't like is the fact that so many rifles are on the front line here, taking an absolute beating. We need more melee. We've got so many Kriegers over here, this side, that could be coming over to help us. Actually, I think we are starting to run out of melee troops now. There's probably only, like I said, about 10,000 left. Give or take a few thousand here. But I am starting to get worried for this side, because if the Tyranids do manage to kill all these Imperial Guardsmen over here, they're just basically going to have a bit of a free roam right into the center. And that'll actually give them access to the walls, so they can go along that wall and down into that defense along that side. And they can start coming down that wall into that flank, so it could be a deadly maneuver. But we've just got to see if the Imperials can hold this for as long as possible. Deal some real damage here to the enemy. Where are all of the tanks, though, by the way? I think all of the tanks are literally deployed to these gatehouses, which is why the gatehouses have been holding so well. We could do with a little bit of tank power coming over to this side of the field. That would be splendid. How to create some pockets, a few seconds of breathing room for the Kriegers. That'd be lovely. These guys are just holding out at point-blank range here, and I don't know how they're doing it. The relentless swarm of Tyranids just trying to pile over here, reclaim as much biomass as possible. Now, we've got to have some insane lakes of goo hidden around this map underneath. If we zoom out a little bit, we might be able to see some. It might be just that the floor is so flat, though, that we're not able to build any up, which is kind of sad. It's also kind of worrying, because we've now blocked off all the gatehouses here, which means that if we start letting blood seep into the center, there's nowhere for it to go, so the Kriegers might be at risk of drowning. So at the end of the day, these body piles that we're building might be just the thing that saves the Kriegers from drowning in Tyranid blood. But we'll have to see. I mean, I'm surprised that there's still troops left on this side of the wall, quite frankly. Surprised the Tyranids didn't clear him out first. But yeah, we are still waiting, though. The Tyranids haven't actually breached the wall yet. The Kriegers have plugged the gap, but what we're waiting for is to see what happens. Can the Kriegers hold this defense? I don't know. So, we are going to hit another time-lapse camera here, and we're also worried about what's going to happen on this gatehouse. Yeah, the gatehouses are really starting to get... Oh, look at this. They're really close to actually coming over the side of here. Is there a way that we can sort of see both of them? I want to be able to see both both the wall and the gatehouse. We can sort of see them from here. Okay, so I'll be able to see if the Kriegers are backing up from that house over there. But I also want to keep an eye on that wall. Oh my gosh, there's so many areas of the battlefield I want to keep an eye on. Right, so from here, we'll be able to see if the Tyranids start piling over this gatehouse. We'll be able to see if the Kriegers have to start retreating backwards. And we'll be able to keep an eye on that corner wall over there, because the Tyranids are building bodies up slowly but surely. Right, let's hit another time lapse. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen giants. Oh my days, look at what has finally started to happen. The Kriegers have been pushed back ever so slightly now. The Tyranids actually managing to get over the top of the wall section here. They're even starting to clear out the stair section bit by bit. We've had to bring up a bunch more reinforcements. You can see that every now and then that a couple of guys retreat from this side and go back over to that wall over here. Did look like we had a couple of, yeah, we've got a couple of more shovel Kriegers here making their way up to the top. Try and get up to that front line, acting as a little bit of a bulwark here for a few seconds. Buying the Imperials the time that they desperately need at the moment. We've just dropped below 9,000 defenders as well now. But they've killed 700,000. Remember, there was only 30,000 defenders in total. Oh gosh, look at that actually. That's a bit weird because 5,000 have died in different ways then, i.e. falling, drowning, environmental factors. That's quite a lot of Imperials that have died to random things. Look at all these Tyranids though that are just piling up outside of this place now. Who needs Imperial walls when you've got a Tyranid Hormigaunt army? Just pile up the corpses so high that there is no wall, it's just a mountain. Except we're getting very close to getting a breach on this side as well, I think. The same was happening on this side of the gatehouse. If you can notice now that the bodies are starting to pile up. But we have got a couple of Kriegers actually making the way. So there is some sort of pathable land here now. I think actually the Kriegers are the only thing holding that back. Is the same happening over this side? Kind of looks like it almost, yeah. It's not quite pathable just yet, but a few more bodies will make that inevitable. So I'm wondering then, can the Kriegers get to them, but they can't get to the Kriegers? Oh, no, they can definitely get over this section of the wall. It looks like it's just a little bit difficult still. So yeah, pretty soon then, them bodies are going to build up tall enough to be able to get over there. And this section of the wall is just getting absolutely covered at the moment. I can't believe how many corpses are actually piled up in this one section alone. I've got a feeling this kind of defense, it's sort of just going to hold out for ages, and then it'll just snap suddenly within 5 minutes. Like, they'll probably hold out like this for a good another, 40 minutes? How far are we in now? So I'm about 1 hour and 15 minutes into recording, so these guys have been doing a really good job so far. 1 hour and 15 minutes of holding out against this relentless slaughter. And they're still standing, but yeah, I estimate they'll hold out, I'd give them another 30 minutes of this going on like this. But then it will just literally collapse within 5 minutes. They'll just take one too many losses and that's it. They won't be able to hold them back anymore. The fortress has entered entropy here. The decay is inevitable. I mean, it's inevitable because they're just not killing enough Tyranids. If they were at about 2 million kills by now, I'd maybe say that they've got a chance of doing this, but yeah, it seems that with every single Tyranid death that is building up over the wall here, the Imperials are finding it harder and harder to defend their location. Look at them, kind of interested that this side of the wall has not been breached yet. It looks like it should be pathable. And I mean, there is just an insane amount of bodies built up over here as well. Look at all them, but jeez, man. Have they actually managed to create this area yet? It's not quite there yet. Still a few bodies. Oh no, my dude. What are you doing? Look at that. That was absolutely insane. He must have killed a load of Tyranids there, skirting forward like that. Do you think they just ran out of ammunition and drove off the ledge and were just like, meh, crushing the way through a load of Tyranids? It looks like it happened once before already because, for some reason, how far away this guy is. Oh, some Tyranid got really angry with you, or he drove the way there. Speaking of, look at all these. There's all these little miniature hills as well behind these ones, which is also crazy. Looks like a spined back of a large creature that's under there. Actually kind of surprised that the fortress isn't filled with blood as well at the moment. You would have thought by now with all these Tyranids coming over the top and dying over here, that it would have all filled up with goo. Actually, it kind of looks like it's starting over this side here. Look at all that firepower though. being concentrated on this one area. So, oh, we're definitely starting to get a pathway over this side now. Any moment the Tyranids are going to be able to do that. This wall's still holding firm though. The kriegers refusing to give it up. These last 8,000 are going to be a real thorn in the side. Like I say, what's crazy about this is it just doesn't look like we've done any damage to the Tyranid horde whatsoever. It's just endlessly gigantic here. These Tyranids so far away that they can't even tell what's going on at the fortress. Visually, at least. I'm sure they're getting some sort of information through the synaptic feeds here. But it does look like the kriegers are having to back up more and more from this position. Again, amazing that there's still guys left on this side, especially now that they're getting a bit of a two-pronged attack going on. God, look at that. They're so close. Surely they can get over that now. Yeah, I think it's just a few more. I've been saying that for a while, but the Tyranids just don't seem interested in pathing over that way whatsoever. And it does look like most of the bodies are still rolling down at this side over here, so maybe that's the problem. So maybe once they build up the pile on this side that little bit more, then perhaps that is when they can actually start truly pathing over, or have they just done it? In fact, they might have just done it. That was quite a few Tyranids heading that way direction then. If not, they're very close. The AI is trying its best here. Oh, a krieger's come up. A krieger's gone down. That is just a terrifying sight. Oh my god. That is truly terrifying. I love the Tyranids, man. They're probably one of the most craziest armies that you will ever have to face against in the 40k universe. Just a relentless swarm of cockroaches that are all about venom, poison, and nasty, horrible ways to die. There's no nice way to die to a Tyranid, is there? Like, when it comes to Space Marines, Imperial Guard, you can be shot in the head, you know, it can be execution humanely, stuff like that. When it comes to a Tyranid, no, you're dissolved in acid or ripped limb from limb. Or eaten. There's no two ways. It's like, that's it. You're done. Oh, horrific death. Like, even when it comes to some of the other races, Orcs and Chaos, you know, your mind's slowly corrupted. You get to live on, be a rebel for a bit. And then you probably get a bolt gun bullet to the face. But, yeah, I would go ahead and say that these are the nastiest ways to go in the 40k universe. No other army comes close for horrific ways to die. I'm really surprised that they haven't managed to pile up enough bodies yet to get over this part. It really looks like it should be pathable by now. I love these little krieger counter charges though that we've got coming out. Again, oh gosh, look at this. It is actually starting to happen now. The fortress is filling up. The goo is starting to pile up around the bottom floor here. Now, I said earlier, these bodies might actually become a bit of a godsend. And look at this. Most of the kriegers are standing on body piles at the moment, so hopefully the goo should not be a problem here. But yeah, I think what we're really waiting for is either the Tyranids to make another entrance on one of these sides, or for this defense to really start faltering. Because at the moment, like I said, they're just doing this magnificent job of just holding out. They're hardly losing any units as well. Comparative to the Tyranids, they're getting real bang for the buck over this side. But we are going to keep an eye on this side of the field over here as well. We're going to hit another little time lapse. Can we sort of see? Yeah, okay. I'm trying to get another angle that we didn't see earlier. But yeah, we'll go with this one. We can still see both of them corners and this attack angle. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and my, it appears that the decay and the rot is finally happening here to the Imperial Guard defense. The overwhelming number of Tyranids finally starting to take its toll on our Imperial Guard defenders. But look at this. Not before we buried an entire section of the wall here in Tyranid corpses. 30,000 defenders have almost killed 1 million Tyranid Hormagaunts here. That is some impressive work. Good job ammunition's not a thing in this, realistically. The defenders would have been dead a long time ago. Yeah, this gatehouse has been holding out phenomenally over this side. They're trying to stay out of the deep pools that are in the center. This is really starting to gain some depth now, bit by bit. Especially as the kriegers are having to back up now. But yeah, what this has actually done is allowed some narrowing to fields of fire over here. So the kriegers are able to concentrate that firepower, but you can see that the bodies have actually built up now to the taller parts of the wall, which is also kind of ridiculous. Look at this. There's almost no fortress wall left on this side. Let's go over this side as well. Yeah, we still haven't managed to close that gap on this side. The Tyranids not able to path over it just yet, but look at the stream of corpses flowing down. There's so many of them. Again, Krieger's doing an amazing job of holding back the enemy on these sides. Does look like, though, that the Tyranids have made some progress on this side of the field, at least. They have now managed to path over the wall, but they've now got an entire staircase to clear out on this side. Same on this side, quite frankly. They have managed to path over the wall here, but now they've got an entire staircase to clear out, and that's Krieger's holding there. They're able to do that for quite a while. 5,000 defenders remaining here. 3.9 million enemies. It's kind of insane. We've actually still got quite a few of the kriegers here with shovels, so there might be some krieger countercharge going on at some point. That'll be interesting to see. Again, actually, on this side of the field, we've got a load of kriegers. Look at them. But it appears that the ones with the auto guns at the moment are sort of blocking the field, preventing them to get into that front line. In some ways good, in some ways bad. It's nice to have a reserve of Kriegmen in the back line there, but we also need them to help protect the rifles, who inevitably are going to get more kills. Yeah, I love this, how it's just all slowly building up and overflowing. But again, it's just slow meat grinder that's just going to collapse in seconds. I can see it now. I know it's going to happen. It's just going to be this one too many deaths, and that's it. The Tyranids are over him like a bad rash. And it's when is it going to happen? When is that snap going to happen in the elastic band that is the Imperial Guard here? Where is it going to happen, crucially? It's probably going to be this section of the line, let's face it. There's so many corpses built up over there now that the Tyranids almost have complete free roam of that side of the fortress. It's only the fact that we've got an Imperial Guard death squad basically at the bottom ready and waiting for them that the Tyranids are even being held back at all. Again, another good wedge of troops over this side. The fact that the Imperials are still holding this section of the wall in particular and it hasn't been overrun by Tyranids, amazing. But yeah, we are going to hit another little time-lapse camera here because I want to see what gives way. It's definitely not going to be that side. The Tyranids aren't building up enough bodies over there. But it is either going to be that section over there or this over here. So I'm going to hit another time-lapse here. And let's see all these lovely, glorious bodies build up. And we'll be back in a second. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, where it appears that the collapse has finally started to happen, but not after the Kriegers gave the Tyranids a good old booting first. Look at this. The Kriegers have had to back up now, almost completely away from this line. They're now all gathering up at the center. It does appear that the group on this side has been completely wiped out. But man, we really made the Tyranids pay for that. But the Tyranids now crashing into this side of the fortress, trying to take out as many of the Kriegers as possible. But again, the Kriegers are just forming this like this massive stalwart defense where they're just not giving up any ground unless it's truly necessary. But again, look at this. The Tyranids still haven't managed to breach this side of the fortress at all. The defenders on this side have done such a good job of holding the waves back over here. It's actually added a lot of stability to the defense because they've been able to do this with relatively few troops as well, which has meant that we've been able to pump the reinforcements into all of these sides. Up until this point, we're now starting to run out of Kriegers though. We're coming down to our last 2,000 odd over here. And yet these 2,000 odd are still putting up one hell of a defense. 1.1 million Tyranids have now perished. That's actually kind of impressive. I'd like to remind you, 30,000 defenders roughly. That's kind of insane. I did put down about 40,000, but because of the buildings and stuff like that, that despawned quite a few of them. So yeah, only about 30,000 ended up being here in total. I guess they did have 48 tanks as well. So that is a lot of fire support from Lehman Russies. But yeah, look at this. They've had to give up the ground around the gatehouse now. They're getting pushed out. You guys need to go over that way. Go link up with your fellows. Don't get pushed into a corner where you're going to inevitably drown here. The Krieger defense is becoming sporadic. Oh, we've got these wonderful guys now charging out with the shovels, trying to hold back. But yeah, we need a mass gathering. The Kriegers all need to group up into one area. The problem here is that a load of them are retreating into areas where there is no other support. Oh, I don't like to call it retreating. I'd like to call it advancing in a different direction when it comes to the Kriegers. Because they're definitely not retreating from the field. They're standing the ground. It's just that they're ensuring that they're staying alive longer. That's what I'm trying to say. You could do the Emperor's holy work for a little bit longer if they stay alive. But man, oh man, this relentless horde of Tyranids has pounded against the gatehouses and the walls of this fortress, and it has finally started to fall here. The Mechanicus are going to lose their peasant research facility. It's kind of a shame that there's no custom assets that we can put in this game, or custom maps, so we can make 40k maps. Because unfortunately the game is designed to run medieval simulations or modern time simulations. It was never designed for 40k units, so there's no real futuristic maps in the game yet, which is kind of sad. So we just have to make do with a medieval peasant fortress defense. And quite frankly, it's terrifying enough seeing this. Look at that, they're sweeping across the courtyard now. Yeah, we're under 2,000, oh my god. It's this last defense. It's the gatehouse that wouldn't falter. It is the last line of defense here against the Tyranids. We have still got these guys down here, but oh, they're not at risk of drowning yet. They should be all right. These guys might be able to hold out for quite a while in this corner. We might end up with some insane last line of defense over here as the Tyranids try to clear them out. These guys are going to get pincered pretty hard though soon. They need to be careful. Is there any guardsmen? Oh, there is. Look, there's a division left over here. A division? That's definitely not a division. Nowhere near enough to be a division. But yeah, there's a nice little group of Kriegsmen over here. Again, narrow field of fire here. God, look at that. That's one hell of a sight to be looking at. Your fortress walls covered in Tyranid dead. The Tyranid living, using the dead to climb over them. The rest of them now swarming down. Let's just have a little look at this from the Tyranid perspective here. Coming up the walls over the mounds of bodies, forming these crazy waves as we get towards the top. And then we descend down into the pit of Hades over here. as they all make their way forward into the Krieger's rifle fire, taking so many losses as they push here. But every now and then, one or two of them gets through and manages to try and slice at the flak armor of the Kriegsmen. Look at these guys all backed up into a wall now. Hopefully what they'll start doing is building a defilade of bodies in front of them, and then they can use that as cover. But we are truly entering the last stand here now. I'm actually surprised that the Kriegers have lasted this long. What are we at now? I'm almost at 2 hours. I'm at 1 hour and 50 minutes of recording here. So the Kriegers have been holding out for almost 2 hours against this oppressive miasma. And I like to point out how relentless the nature of the Tyranid horde is here. They have not had a second of breathing room. Not a single second since the battle started. Just constant 2 hours of adrenaline pumping fighting. Watching the fortress slowly get consumed under the weight of death. It must be quite a sight living in the 40k universe. That's one thing I'll say. Yeah, as an Imperial Guardsman, you may die young, you may die very quickly on the battlefield, but my god, the sight you'll see before that happens will be absolutely, truly spectacular. I mean, if the last thing you ever see is a corrupted Warlord Titan firing a volcano cannon at you, I mean, you know, before your eyeballs melt out, that is going to be one hell of a thing to see. But yeah, look at that. The Tyranids just pouring over that breach now. Absolutely nothing stopping them anymore. I'd like to point out this group as well. Just, they're holding out magnificently in this one little corner over here. And there's hardly any of them. We're coming down to the last 1,500 defenders, and the Tyranids are really struggling to take out, what, maybe 100 of them here? Most of the defense is centered over this side of the field at the moment. Again, we've probably got a good couple of hundred over this side. But these guys have been holding out well. I think ultimately what will happen to these boys is they're going to drown in Tyranid goo. That's probably going to be the ultimate fate of these lads. Apart from the ones who are managing to get up the staircase here. They're actually doing a pretty decent job there. But I am going to hit another little time-lapse camera here. I want to see if we can see any bodies building up. Can we come down to their level? Yeah, let's see if we can see the bodies building up. Or I think they're just going to drown. Let's find out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, the Kriegers are actually having a combination of things here. Some of them are drowning. The Tyranids are also overwhelming them here. Look at this. It's so deep in the background. They're practically swimming over here. The last group of lads holding out. Oh, my boys, my precious boys. You did so well. The Emperor's so proud of you. God, that's it, guys. Oh, no. Oh. That is it. This side of the fortress now completely cleaned out. I believe then that the only defenders that we've got left are the lads who've cleaned out to the entire... Look at this. This is all that's left. They're up to the waist in absolute death. The Tyranids are pouring over them now. There is no defense left anywhere else apart from one of the cannons sitting on top of here, who's just been pumping out complete death for the entire round. 2 hours that boy's been sitting up there, firing his cannons into the mass horde of Tyranids. But look at this fortress now. It has been completely overrun. The Kriegers putting up the last desperate line of defense over here. Brit 2 is under constant barrage. The Tyranids wading through their own acidic blood here to get to that Krieger line. Again, the Kriegers are doing such a good job of being able to hold these back. Tyranids though, 1.2 losses against 30,000. Absolute legendary performance here from the Death Corps of Krieg. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the fall of the fortress here today. Look at it. It is absolutely covered in Tyranid bodies here. There is simply nothing left anymore. But of course, there is one thing left to do. As the last kriege falls, he pushes an oh-so-special button to cleanse the Tyranids from the fortress. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you had a blast. I know I did. Please do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. A massive shout out to the channel members once again. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. As always, until next time, peace.